The economic freedom fighters will embark on a Siyabonga rally at Tembisa this afternoon. The rally follows the performance of the berets in 2021 local government elections. The party received 10% of the vote, up from 8% in 2016. Yesterday, the EFF's leadership slaughtered a bull that was reportedly gifted to the party by the late Zulu king Goodwill Zwelithini in preparation for this rally. Now, Newzroom Afrika's reporter Tumaole Mohlaoli is there, and he's following that story live for us. Tumaole, good to speak to you. What can we expect from proceedings this afternoon?
Well, what's happening here is that the ground here in Tembisa, where the EFF is holding its thank you rally, is just really live with sound and color. There are scores of EFF supporters, if my colleague Siyabonga can show you, standing in front of the big stage where, of course, they will be entertained by a host of artists. We have just had a local group, very popular, called Tembisa. And as you can see in shot here, the EFF supporters, both young and old, certainly in high spirits. It's hard to basically estimate how many people are gathered in this facility, but it's safe to say that it runs into passing over 1,000 at this stage, if I can estimate, and the mood is very, very festive, very joyous. We know that during the local government elections, this is one area that showed its support for the EFF, making sure that the EFF won the award and will effectively have a seat in the council. So it makes sense that the EFF will come here to Tembisa to say thank you to the supporters who backed the party. Now, if you can look in terms of the demographic of this area, mainly young people, mainly between the ages of 20 to about 40, came out in their numbers to give the EFF that vote of support. So certainly it makes sense for the EFF to be here to say thank you. And we know that, of course, there is also another rally that is being held simultaneously in Limpopo province. So from what we can say here is that as the program starts at about 10 o'clock, we will be expecting to hear if the people will be addressed or not by EFF leadership. But it certainly looks like for now it's going to be all party and it's just all revelry.
Tumaole, I'm certainly glad that you're wearing your mask because nobody around you seems to be wearing theirs. Fears of another super spreader?
Well, I'm struggling to hear the question, but let me hear from the EFF supporters what they think about how the party did. Ndate wena uyikuta jwang ngoba mo jwang ngoba
hayi ngijabulile kakhulu EFF iyayenza le yithi EFF iqembu elizophatha la eSouth Africa ilona lodwa iqembu eliphakamisela i-ANC isivalela ngaphandle kakhulu ngoba sifuna amathuba omsebenzi EFF yona kuphela engasinikeza amathuba omsebenzi.
So that's just feedback from some of the EFF supporters saying that they are very happy with the representation they get from the economic freedom fighters, which is why they're here. And they say that they only hope that the EFF will go from strength to strength. Of course, the local government elections showing that the EFF here in Tembisa and Gauteng's East Rand is a strong party and a party on the up. So they are hoping to build on to that particular election showing when the national polls come up. And many of them saying they are bullish and showing that the EFF is going to grow and certainly do better and perhaps even take things up during the upcoming national election. With that, it's back to you in the studio.
Tumaole, if you can hear me, is the EFF adhering to COVID protocols? You know, are they sanitizing? We certainly see that from a lot of the supporters that are behind you that absolutely none of them are wearing masks.
Hugo, I'm struggling to hear you. The stage is blaring the sound of me. Can you repeat the question, please?
Well, I'm going to try one more time. Is the EFF adhering to COVID-19 protocols? Is there any sanitizing taking place? We obviously see that the people around you are not wearing masks.
All right, I'll definitely pose that question. That question would speak to the coalition aspect of things. Let me ask the supporters then. What do you think about the EFF and other parties going into coalition to make sure that they can govern council?
Like as you're asking me, EFF is going so far. EFF are going so far in EFF because we are fighting for our rights. We are fighting for our rights. We are unemployed. We need jobs. We are tired of ANC. I want to be honest. We are tired. We can hungry stomach. When our children go to school with hungry stomach. What do we say? You are voting for ANC. ANC is a move. Go to hell, ANC.
Okay, all right. No, thanks. Please watch the language, ma'am. How do you feel about the EFF joining other parties in coalition?
I'm feeling very excited because at last we are together. At last we are promoting peace in South Africa.
All right. So the view from the EFF supporters here is that coalition is the way to go. They support any decision taken by the party, and that they are happy with the results. So from the ground up, certainly they are saying that coalition with other parties, even if it means just giving the vote to the other parties in coalition, is the way to go. With that, it's back to you in the studio.
Tumaole Mohlaoli coming to us from a very noisy Tembisa where the communication hasn't been very good. Obviously didn't quite hear the question, but thanks to him, and we will be crossing to him later on in the afternoon.